So today I'm going to cover the QDR. So I'm going to cover it from a hand balancing point of view. So it originates from capoeira. So they use it, so the martial arts capoeira, they use it in more of a dynamic way. So they spin around on that position. I'm going to use it more from cover today, I'm going to cover the static position. So the hand balancing, arm balance way of looking at it. It's also used, I think, in breakdancing as well for some of their positions. So let's just have a look at it. So here you can see I'm using it as part of a handstand combination, so where I'll lower to it and then press back up again. But initially we're going to cover how do you train towards it, how do we break it down into easier steps to get to the point where we can eventually do it on one arm. So one of the simplest ways to approach it is if we start on our hands and feet, and we're just going to rotate the torso. So you want to rotate the hip so that the hand, elbow, hip and hip are all on top of each other. Now if you've got weight back towards the toes, this angle is going to be slightly tilted towards the toes, but the same principle applies. So you can see hand, elbow, hip, hip. So that's the rotation. That's where it's very different to like a crow or something where you have the hips more facing down towards the floor. This one we're rotating the hips up. So hand, elbow, hip, hip needs to be stacked on top of each other. If we get into the position where we can get the counterbalance correct, you should be able to lift the toes there in that tuck position. So another way of doing it, and some people actually find this easier than the tuck version, is I'm going to open the legs up. So same principle applies, but you'll see it's even more stacked now, so there's not that tilt back towards the toes because I've lifted the toe off the floor and taken the head closer to the floor. But I've still got that hand, elbow, hip, hip on top of each other. Then when you're there, you can feel the balance and use it a bit like a seesaw. So if I bring my feet down, my head raises up. If I take my head down, my feet raise up. So it's just getting comfortable with that. Once I've found that position and I can feel that I can seesaw, so I can lift up the head and lift the feet down and I'm tipping up and down in that counterbalance position, then I can start to reduce the weight in the assisting hand. So here I'm balancing on my right side, so my left arm is assisting, so I go up onto fingertips. Once I go to fingertips, I can start to move the hand away, start to reduce the fingers, and then get to one finger and then eventually lift the hand up. So in terms of training it, first we want to make sure that we can hold that tuck position. So if you aim for 10-15 seconds in that tuck position, lots of weight in both hands. Then we'd start to open the legs up, same thing, see if you can hold 10-15 seconds, and then reduce to 5 fingers. So I'll go up to the fingertips, same thing, hand further away, 5 fingertips, then start to reduce the fingers, still trying to accumulate, or still trying to hit 10-second holds in each of those positions, then reduce the fingers. So getting rid of the thumb is challenging, then 4 fingers, you could probably go forward to 2 fingers, then to 1 finger, and then eventually start to lift the hand up. Always remembering that seesaw counterbalance effect is there, and you can use that to help you. So if I want to reduce the weight out of my hands, I'm taking the foot closer to the floor, which makes the hand lighter because of the counterbalance. Feet go down, hand comes up. Obviously we want to try and train that on both sides, so try and do 10 seconds on the right side, 10 seconds on the left side, and swap over. If you're pretty strong in the handstand already, so if you have a freestyle handstand and a handstand push-up, you can start to play with the transitions to a QDR. Even if you don't have a full one-arm QDR yet, you can play with this. I find it easier to go into like a staggy split position, so I've split the legs, bent the knees slightly, and then tilt the body as I do an eccentric handstand push-up, and then just find the elbow with the hip. And then just take away the assisting hand as you get into position. And as long as you spread the legs and do the hand at the same time, it's actually not too hard to get into that QDR position out of the eccentric handstand push-up. Have a play, stick any questions in the comments below, or send me a message. Speak to you next time. Subscribe would be appreciated. Thumbs up too.